Bottoms up. My wife, Maggie, said as she poured us our third round of drinks. Thank God. I was getting thirsty. My best friend Daniel exclaimed. Oh please, I think you've had one drink too many. His wife Francesca said. Daniel had always been a drinker. When he moved to my hometown of Plainsville, Illinois at the age of 17, we sat across from each other in Mrs. Callahan's class, and we instantly hit it off. The only bad thing about Daniel was that he would come to school every day with vodka disguised as water. He would come to school hungover and get on the bus drunk. You really should watch yourself. You don't want to fall back into your old habits. I said. Come on guys. I'm just having fun. It is our monthly game night after all, it's a once-a-month thing. Daniel tried to reason. Actually, I was thinking that we could maybe try something different today. I'm kind of in the mood for some scary stories. Maggie said. Sounds fun to me. I said come on. You guys know that I hate scary things. Francesca said. She had always been a scaredy-cat. Come on, it will be fun. Besides, how scary can our stories get? We are adults pushing 30 after all. Maggie said. Ugh, I guess you're right. Francesca said. Throughout our conversation, Daniel was eerily quiet, which was odd because he is usually the loudest one in the group. Later on in the night, I would figure out why. I'll start. Maggie excitingly said. I would tell you what her story was, but honestly it wasn't anything too scary, just a cliché story about ghosts. Clichés are exactly what Francesca's and I's stories were too. Francesca told a story about killer clowns, and I told a story about a deranged kidnapper-murderer. And that's when we got to Daniel, who had been quiet up until this point. After all that has happened, I wish that we just did our normal game night. I will tell you guys what Daniel said to the best of my ability. Before I begin, I just want you guys to know that everything I am about to tell you is true. That's what they all say. Maggie said. Daniel gave her the side eye before continuing. As you all know, before I moved to Plainsville, I lived in Border, Illinois. What you guys don't know is that Border has a few urban legends, but one was quite a bit more popular than the rest. The story of Mary Bellham. Mary was a student at Border High, she was the girl that everybody picked on. After all, she was an easy target because she was only 5 feet tall in the 12th grade. Not only that, but her teeth were crooked because her family was too poor to afford braces. Eventually, the bullying was too much for Mary, and she hung herself in the middle of the main hallway right before school started, so everyone could get a good look at her when they walked in. Daniel paused before continuing. All her suicide note read was, "You made me do this." Good God, this is depressing. Francesca shouted. Daniel put his hand up, signaling for her to be quiet. As the year went on, more and more students started committing suicide. At first it was the bullies, then it started to be random people, and each of the deaths had one thing in common. Next to each of their lifeless bodies laid a piece of paper that read, "I made them do this." Maggie, Francesca, and I all released an audible gasp. Eventually, parents started moving their children to different schools. David continued. Soon most of the students at Border High were transferred out, and the school had to be shut down. It is said that Mary still haunts the school, and people from Border call it the House of Mary. She has to be gone by now though. Right? Francesca asked, unsure of herself. Oh, she isn't gone. David said with wide eyes. How do you know that? Maggie asked. Each year a few people from Border kill themselves, and they all have that same damn suicide note. She's still haunting that place to this day. With that, Francesca said that it was time for them to go. I suppose she thought that Daniel had too much to drink and that he would keep talking about this girl all night if he could. Maggie and I said our goodbyes to them and started to clean up. He sure did have a lot to drink tonight, huh? Maggie said to me. He sure did. You don't think that story is true, do you? You know how Daniel gets when he drinks. Not at all. Maggie exclaimed. He must get creative when he's drunk. That must be it. I said with a laugh. We finished cleaning up and went to bed, but in the middle of the night I was woken up by a barrage of texts on my phone. Who the hell is texting you at this hour? Maggie asked in a drowsy stupor. It was Francesca. Daniel shot himself in the middle of the night. Next to him laid a sheet of paper. I made him do this.